Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know, from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars, topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
And welcome everyone to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and today I wanted to first jump into, of course, the NBA, but then we also have a lot to discuss in college basketball because it's March Madness, it's championship week. We already have a championship game tonight. It's exciting. There has been tournament play already, conference tournament play. People are anxious. We have a lot of the, fans are getting excited for March Madness. I'm excited for March Madness. Defensive players of the years are excited. Coaches of the years have been named. All team selections. It's exciting. So this is the best, most wonderful time of the year. It is college basketball March Madness. So there's a lot to discuss. I know some people are disappointed right now because, like I said, with championship week, your squad might already be sent home, or you may not have even made it depending on your seeding to the conference tournament. Selection Sunday is on this Sunday coming up, so just a few days away before, we set the stage for some dreams to start coming true. So we have a lot to get into today. I'm also going to talk about what happened with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not only did they lose last night, but they took more of a loss than just the box score. So we have a lot to get into today. First, I want to start off with the scores, kind of a recap, of course, of what happened last night in the NBA. We had the Milwaukee Bucks face off against the 76ers in Philadelphia. They defeated them 112-98, so a nice game for the Bucks. The New York Knicks, I'm sure, is happy with this one. They have another win over the Orlando Magic, 113-105 on the road in Orlando. And then, like I said, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they did lose last night to the Miami Heat, 106-98, but there's more of a story there, and probably the biggest story of basketball last night was the first minute of the Cleveland Cavaliers and Heat matchup game last night. So I'm going to jump into that in a little while. Anyways, we have the Golden State Warriors face off against the Atlanta Hawks. The Golden State Warriors, they're 26-8 on the road, and they did it again. They got the job done, 119-111. Then we had the Chicago Bulls face off against the Pistons. The Pistons gave Chicago Bulls a game during the fourth quarter. The Bulls did not have an answer for them. They lost to the Pistons 95-109. But the thing is, the Detroit Pistons had 30 points, outscored the Bulls 30-16 in the fourth quarter alone for that big run to give them that win last night. A little dash in the W column. The Brooklyn Nets defeated the Memphis Grizzlies. I know that they were happy for that win last night, 122-109. I mean, a win is a win, is it not? Then, in an interesting scenario for the Trailblazers and Timberwolves, they are postponed to today due to condensation on the court. So if you were planning a watching party with your Trailblazer friends or with your Timberwolf friends, you guys got to postpone it to today due to condensation on the court. And it's funny to me because usually we don't have to worry about weather or worry about, any mishaps with our stadiums when you play basketball, just because it's an indoor enclosed arena versus, an outdoor sport such as football, golf, or anything else that you play outside. Tennis, I know that the weather does really affect tennis as well. So it's just funny to me that they had to postpone the game due to condensation on the court. Anyway, so that game is going to come up today instead. The Indiana Pacers lost to the Hornets 88-100. Kemba Walker had a great night last night to secure that win for his Charlotte Hornets. The Rockets lost to the Spurs just by 2, 110-112. Kawhi Leonard had 39 points a game for Kawhi. If you were looking to hear his words on the win and on his performance last night, you did not miss it. He just did not get a chance to come out and talk about it. So the NBA randomly drug tests 4 times a season and then twice during the off season. They randomly drug test them. So it just so happened that Kawhi Leonard's day was last night, and so he did have to take care of that. And unfortunately, because of how long it took him and because, whatever reasons, he wasn't able to come out and talk about it. So you didn't miss him. It's just, he was called for that random drug test. So just happens. The Sacramento Kings, my Kings, they lost last night to the Denver Nuggets 96-108, despite outscoring the Nuggets in the fourth quarter. They really lost it in the third quarter when the Nuggets outscored them 23-33. And then the Kings did outscore the Nuggets 23-18. But like I said, that third quarter really did it to the Kings and secured that win for the Nuggets. The Pelicans, they also lost by 5 to the Utah Jazz, 83-88. And then to wrap up the evening as far as NBA play is concerned, the LA Clippers defeated the Boston Celtics. So now fast forward to today. Like I said, we are going to have, and so fast forward to today, the Trailblazers are going to face off against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I did say earlier that they were going to have that rematch with due to the postponement last night, but that is not on the schedule. That was incorrect. So sorry about that. That was definitely incorrect. The Trailblazers are facing off against the Oklahoma City Thunder today. Russell Westbrook and his squad hosting the Trailblazers, and everything will be A-OK in Oklahoma City for them to play. The LA Lakers, they are going to be playing the Dallas Mavericks at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas tonight. That's going to be at 5:30 Pacific time. And then we have at 6 o'clock Pacific time, the Wizards facing off against the Phoenix Suns at the Talking Stick Resort Arena in Phoenix, Arizona. So that's going to cut us to our first break. When we come back, we have to discuss Andrew Bogut. And then after that, it's all about college basketball. So keep it locked here. You are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and I will be right back.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and now I just wanted to give you guys an update on what I believe was the biggest news, the biggest event, the shocker of the evening, and really disappointing moment of the games, last night. So it was the game with the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Cleveland has been trying to build a team, piecing together what they believe is going to be the ultimate squad, which rightfully so, they can do it. That's what they've been wanting to do. That's what they have, literally been working towards and wanting to build. So last night, if you were watching the game, you already know this. However, if you were not watching the game, and especially if you've been listening to the podcast, either this one or the sports podcast, we have been looking forward to seeing what is going to be, the cohesion with this new team. And I've been excited. I've been wanting to see what would happen with the acquisition of Andrew Bogut. And you guys know I like Andrew Bogut, and I think that he definitely makes a difference when he is on the court. And I was excited for his debut. So he hasn't played a game. This is only, I believe his second appearance since January of this year. So he hasn't seen a lot of play. I was going to say PlayStation. He hasn't seen a lot of play time lately, but so he had his debut with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're excited. He's on his new squad. He's still, he's ready. He's in it to win it. 58 seconds go by. He runs up to close out on White of the Miami Heat. His tibia crashes into White's left knee, fractures his tibia. So this is possibly, I'm just going to say it. Basically, they have to still do the MRI and figure it out. But, this is a type of injury where, when you break your hand or break something else or, twist your ankle, something like that, typically your doctor will say, okay, 6 to 8 weeks recovery time, 10 to 12 weeks after surgery, whatever. But this is not the case, sometimes you can think, okay, so 6 to 8 weeks. So that's a little bit over, that's about 2 months. In 2 months, we'll be back at it. That's not that bad. However, with this kind of injury, your recovery time is not measured in weeks. It's measured in months. So this is the end of that exciting idea of Andrew Bogut and the Cleveland Cavaliers, unfortunately. So it's definitely going to be a sad situation. They did do x-rays, and they said last night at the arena, so they did do x-rays and revealed there was a fracture, and then he was taken to the Cleveland Clinic for further evaluation. LeBron James, he said, I quote, "It's very deflating, a tough moment. We all were excited about the acquisition and bringing him in here. We can hope for the best, but it's a tough one, not only for him, first of all, but for our ball club." So it's definitely a bad situation. And LeBron James even said that he basically knew right away that that's what was wrong, that's what happened. And he said, I quote again, LeBron James, "As soon as the collision happened, I heard it break. And when I went over to him and he said that it was broken, I already knew. I heard it crack." So, I can't even imagine, it just kind of makes my skin crawl thinking about it, because, when anybody ever breaks their leg bone, any bone, their tibia, any part of your body, yes, but your leg bones, the bones that make up and compose the structure of your legs, are so strong and thick, and they're made to hold a lot of weight and to hold a lot of impact. So when one of those cracks, I don't doubt that he heard it, that it was that loud. And so I don't know. It's just making my skin crawl. So, definitely we are hoping, and that my heart goes out to guys and athletes, especially when they go through kind of season ending injuries like this. So we definitely will keep an update with Andrew Bogut as he, more information comes out, and looking to see what is going to basically be the outcome of this, whether, how long it is going to be, and all of those things, recovery. And then, of course, I will be excited to report on his comeback when he is ready to play, whenever that may be. So now switching gears to college basketball. So college basketball, I'm excited. You guys know I love college basketball. This is my most favorite time of the year, March Madness. This week actually might be, I don't know. I mean, it's of course not more exciting than the NCAA tournament, but this is when your hopes are high. This is when, our hopes start building and things like that. And we start investing and getting more excited in our teams and the players that make up of our teams. We have a lot of pride, especially if you have, one of your players, or if multiple players on your squad are named, defensive player of the year. We had a lot, one young man on my team from school, my old alma mater, UC Irvine. He was named player of the year. So, that's great. We had the defensive player of the year also on my team, as well as first team and second team selection. So my coach was named coach of the year. So this is like when you're excited, because now you're seeing all the hard work that your squad has put in throughout season coming. One, you're excited and you're happy and you're proud because it paid off, but then you still have more to look forward to. So you have championship week, the conference championships that take place and things like that. And then you also have, you're getting anxious because if my team can just keep playing like they've been playing, then you can get an offer to go dance at the big tournament. So this is an exciting time for everyone, especially lovers of college basketball. I want to jump in starting at Sunday night with college basketball, because we had some tournament play this weekend and it's wrapping up tonight. So with some of the conference tournaments, so we are going to see. So let's rewind to Sunday evening. We had number 16 Purdue defeat Northwestern on Sunday. They defeated them 69-65. Number 18 Cincinnati faced off against UConn, defeated them by 20, gave them that work 67-47. Wichita State for their final game, tournament final, they had Wichita State, defeated Illinois State by 20 points, 71-51. Minnesota faced off against number 22 Wisconsin, fell to Wisconsin 49-66. Then moving on to the games that took place last night, we had Santa Clara face up against number 4 Gonzaga. They lost to Gonzaga 68-77, and that was the West Coast Conference semifinal game. So Gonzaga earned their seed for, their spot in the championship game. And then we had BYU face up against number 19 St. Mary's. They lost to St. Mary's 50-81. So a solid win for St. Mary's. They're coming in strong and that was also a semifinal game for the West Coast Conference. So tonight is going to be the championship game for the automatic bid on ESPN at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas tonight. 6 p.m. Pacific time. We have number 19 St. Mary's and number 4 Gonzaga for that men's final game, the championship game for the WCC. So that we already have some championship games to talk about tomorrow. Ben will definitely give you guys an update on that. And then we have some more conference tournaments. I know a lot are taking place this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right before Selection Sunday on Sunday. So that is so far what to look forward to. When I come back from this last break, I'm going to give you guys an update also about women's college basketball and just some college news in general to look forward to. So keep it locked here. You are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. So, of course, I want to give you guys an updated ranks for Week 18 as of March 6th. So, just a day ago, just on this Monday. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning now. So, just to give you guys kind of like this updated top 25. So, Kansas, the Jayhawks, number 1 for the second week in a row. Villanova sitting at number 2. UCLA sitting pretty at number 3. Gonzaga, like we know, is number 4. They're, I'm sure, excited for tonight, preparing for this evening's game championship. Number 5 is Oregon. We have North Carolina sitting at number 6. Number 7 is Arizona. Kentucky, number 8. Baylor is number 9. Wrapping up that top 10 is Louisville. West Virginia is number 11. SMU is number 12. Then they are followed by Purdue, Duke, Cincinnati at 15. Florida State, the 16th on the list. Florida sitting right behind Florida State at 17. Butler at 18. St. Mary's 19, also preparing for that championship game tonight against Gonzaga. Wichita State 20. Virginia is 21. Notre Dame is ranked at 22. Iowa State 23. Wisconsin number 4. And to wrap up the top 25 is Maryland. So again, excitement in men's college basketball. We had the Iona Gales defeating the Siena Saints last night, 86-87. So in overtime on ESPN2, if you guys were able to watch that, that was for the MAAC Men's Championship Final. So they defeated them. A great, great game. Another, that's what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. So, you have a player, Jordan Washington. He played through foul trouble to end the game with 21 points and 10 rebounds. Just an exciting game for them. And I love this. I don't know. I just love when games go to overtime, but then they win. Your favorite team pulls out because, it's good when you have a game where your team has been winning the entire time. And so that's a lot of fun because you're just like, oh, we got this. But then I love college basketball when it's like this. You have an overtime situation and you win by 1 off of a layup. So it's very, very exciting time in college basketball. On the women's side, I wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on in women's college basketball. So the top 25 for women's, I'm going to give you guys the top 10. We have, of course, UConn sitting at number 1, Baylor at number 2, Notre Dame sitting at and ranked number 3, South Carolina ranked number 4, followed by Maryland, Stanford, Mississippi State is 7, Oregon State number 8, Duke is number 9. Florida State is number 10. So both their men and women's team ranked in the top 25. Ohio State is number 11. Washington sitting at 12. Louisville, 13. Texas, 14. UCLA down a bit at 15. Miami, followed by DePaul. North Carolina State. Kentucky is sitting at 19. Drake at 20. Syracuse at 21. Oklahoma is ranked number 22. Creighton, 23. Kansas State on the women's side is ranked number 24. And then Missouri to wrap up that top 25 in women's college basketball. So that is exciting too, because we have women's college basketball. They are also competing for some tournament slots. Last night we had South Florida lose drastically to number 1 Connecticut. Of course, it does not surprise me for that final game, that championship game, 44-100. Definitely not a contest for the undefeated UConn. They are overall this season 32-0. West Virginia upset. See, this is what I'm talking about right here. Upset. Number 2 Baylor. West Virginia came out of nowhere. They beat them by 11 points. So a solid win for West Virginia, 77-66 in that Big 12 Women's Championship. So, hey, anything can happen. It is March Madness. That's what I'm talking about right there. We had number 17 DePaul defeat St. John's 59-41 as well. Then Marquette face off against number 23 Creighton, defeated them as well in the semifinal for the Big East Women's Championship Conference play. Marquette defeated Creighton 72-65. So a lot going on in women's college basketball as well. If you are looking forward to some games for tonight, then it's more of a championship side, so there's not as many games happening in either women's college basketball or men's college basketball either. But for the women's side, we have Marquette, unranked Marquette, facing off against number 17 DePaul in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, for the Big East Women's Championship game. Marquette is 13-5 in Big East play. DePaul is 16-2. So certainly a matchup to discuss for them over in Milwaukee tonight. I know that they're excited. I know that their fans are very excited, because this is what it's all about. You work hard all season, but like we saw with Baylor, you could be working hard, have that number 2 seed, and then somebody sneaks in. That underdog sneaks in for the upset, and I love upsets. I always go for the underdog. So that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. You are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. Ben will be in tomorrow to give you guys an update on all things basketball, and I'll be in on Thursday. So I will talk to you guys next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.